welcome back to Mercenary Edits, and in this video we're going to talk about 7 things you must include in your freelance contract. Let's get to it. Having a basic contract will save you from issues like non-payment, scope creep, copyright issues, and that's just to name a few. It ensures the mutual understanding of several important factors in the freelancer-client relationship. Some of these things are how much time and how many deliverables the client should expect in a set amount of time, what the payment schedule will be like, how payments will be made, what will happen in the case of late payments or failure to pay, who owns the work, how the work can be used, and how the freelancer-client relationship can be terminated. Laying these details out in a simple contract will help you avoid and solve disputes. Even better is having your own contract. That way you can protect yourself from those predatory boilerplate contracts that some employers and agencies may present you with. These types of contracts may try to get you to give up your full copyright to the work that you're creating, or they may say that you can only work for their company or only one employer in their industry at a time. Some of them will impose time frames for which you can't work for one of their direct competitors. So that's something that you want to be mindful of, and having your own contract will alleviate that out of the gate. These types of clauses in contracts can severely impact your opportunity to earn. These are just a few of the reasons why taking the time to create your own contract could really work in your favor and save you a lot of headache in the long run. As promised, here are the 7 things that you should include in that contract. Number 1, an introductory statement. This is a simple paragraph that names the parties involved and gives a brief overview of the agreement. You will also want to establish that the parties will be referred to as client and contractor throughout the contract. This minimizes the number of places that you'll have to change names throughout the contract when you send it to someone new. This will definitely make your proposal and contract and invoicing a whole lot faster. Number 2, the scope of the project. Laying out the scope of a project in the beginning in writing is an absolute must. It helps you get a clear and concise picture of the project, and it also allows you to price your services for the project according to the actual work that you'll be doing. Getting the project's scope in writing also helps you avoid scope creep. What is scope creep, you may be asking? According to Wikipedia, scope creep is the continuous and uncontrolled growth of a project's scope after the project has been started. I hate to use the word in the definition, but that's what they have. Don't judge me, judge Wikipedia. This often occurs when a project is not properly defined at its start. To avoid scope creep, you definitely want to add a scope of work section to your contract. And that section should include these things: the task you are agreeing to complete, the number of deliverables a client will receive, when you intend to finish the agreed upon work, whether or not you're available for additional projects, and the cost structure for you taking on those additional projects. This establishes clear expectations and boundaries, and it saves you so much headache on the back end if you just take the moment to sit down with the client and clearly and concisely lay out what it is that they're expecting from you and what it is that you're willing to do and how that will be done. Number 3, changes and revisions. The number 1 cause of scope creep is a client asking for endless revisions. This clause or section helps avoid that problem by laying out upfront and in writing how many, if any, changes or revisions are included in their initial payment. This clause or section allows you to lay out your revision procedures and processes as clearly and as detailed as possible. You also want to clearly define what constitutes a revision and what that process is, as I stated before, so that you can set the expectations for the client and avoid any miscommunications, because everything's in writing. If they have a problem, you can simply reference your contract, have them go to that section, and you can read through it with them, and you guys can work through that problem. Number 4, payments. Here's where you explain the full payment structure for a position or a project. This should include what the cost of each individual deliverable is, how much the total cost of the project is, when the client is expected to pay. You'll also want to specify dates for first and last payments, the form of payments you will accept, late payment fee, what will happen in case of non-payment, fees associated with change requests, revisions, and scope creep. If they want to add some stuff in the 4th quarter, you got to lay that out so they're not surprised when they see the bill. Number 5, Termination options. Your contract should specify under which conditions each party can terminate the contract. Make sure you include the following information in your termination clause. What circumstances can be considered grounds for termination? How much notice needs to be given? What happens to final pay? Termination fees. You may want to add a minimum amount of work that needs to be done before either party could exercise their right to terminate the contract. This ensures that you've had ample time to prove your value to the client. Number 6, a legal disclaimer. A legal disclaimer clears you of liability for a variety of problems that a client may blame you for. This should include lost profits, lost savings, and other consequential damages. Make sure you have this area of your contract vetted by a lawyer. Number 7, a signature area. This was pretty straightforward. Just a place for you to sign and date and for the client to sign and date. Times have changed. People rarely are in the same place at the same time when these things go down. You have to do it online. So you may want to consider investing in some sort of client management tool. In this day and age, they all have some sort of contract execution function that is included within it. This will definitely come in handy when you are trying to get contracts signed on the go. Contracts are an essential tool for protecting the interests of both you and your clients. Don't get it twisted. Even with a contract, from time to time, you're going to take an L. And for that reason, your contract should be a living, breathing organism. It should change and adapt and grow as your business changes, adapts, and grows so that you can minimize the number of L's that you take. I don't feel like I should have to say this, but I'm gonna say it anyway. I'm not a lawyer, so this is not legal advice. This is just some things that I picked up over the years that I feel like will help you. As always, like the video, subscribe to the channel. If you agree with me, leave it in the comments. If you disagree, leave it in the comments. If you feel like I left something out, leave it in the comments. If you didn't know that almost all the bananas on the earth today are clones or descendants of one banana tree, leave it in the comments because that's actually true. You should Google it. Mercenary Edits. Peace.